you guys. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have our first ever international guest on the show.
I didn't realize it was your first.
Yeah, you
That's
are my
a big
first.
deal.
It is a big deal. Can't you tell that we're so nervous before you arrived?
No, I didn't. I felt like I was at home. So this is awesome.
Okay, so she is someone that I've been thrilled and been wanting to meet for a very, very long time. And I just can't believe that you're here with us in flesh.
Such an honor.
Yeah, I have to do this though. Let me just do this.
Let's get to it.
All the way from New Jersey, we have Global Brand Ambassador and Group Vice President of Global Education of IT Cosmetics, Shannon Pirie.
Awesome. Thank you.
I know. Wow,
That's a mouthful. That's a long title.
It is a mouthful, but
it's important.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
just talking about it, right? So Shannon,
yes.
welcome to Malaysia.
Oh, it's an honor to be here.
Yeah, it's not your first time.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I've been here a few times. I actually got to pitch the brand. I actually got to launch the brand. And so I came back. But I will say, you know, what's interesting is that I posted, like I was in Malaysia, and the amount of Americans that wrote back, I've always heard they have the best welcome in any country. Can I tell you that's truth?
Okay. I was going to
That is the truth. I joke around. I put it on my own stories. I got flowers the size of me. They were enormous. I think I've talked about them on my stories like way too many times. And people are like, yeah, Shannon got flowers. But like all the snacks, but you know, I think more than gifts, right? Gifts are nice and all that, but it's the people and it's the kindness. And like I posted on my Facebook or Instagram today, like it's just love and joy here.
It is.
There is this like, I don't know, it's addicting.
It also kind of makes me feel so proud to be Malaysian, really, hearing it from you. Because
Yeah.
every time I travel, I mean, I love traveling, but there's nothing like the feeling of coming home to my own people.
Yeah.
Because they're really just, the warmth that we give is just next level.
It is. It's something you really can't compare to another country.
Really?
You just have something really special about you. And so, yes, I'm literally counting down the days till I can come back. But it has been a nice surprise.
Has it been since your first trip?
6 years.
No way.
It had been a really long time. And I mean, we launched here and then we started launching all over the world. So it wasn't easy to come back. And I think the last time I was here was in 2019. I came to Singapore and went in and came out, one of those things.
Right. Of course, Shannon is from IT Cosmetics. It is a brand that was introduced to me, I would say, about 2 years ago. And I've been in love since. Bella, our showrunner, knows every time she sees me put on my makeup, it's always IT Cosmetics. I love it. Like even right now, like I was just telling you, the Bye Bye concealer under eye.
Bye Bye under eye.
That's all I wear these days.
Because it looks amazing on you.
Does the work. It's such a good product. But we're not going to talk about product today because it speaks for itself. We want to talk about confidence. But before we get to that though, Shannon, I think maybe you could introduce yourself to our audience, our Malaysian audience, our Southeast Asian audience. We have people from all over Asia.
I love that.
Yeah. Tell us about yourself and maybe a little journey about your in between. Remember just now, before we came on, you told me about people talk about the start. People talk about the end, the destination, but no one really talks about the in-between.
It's true.
So tell us your in-between.
It's kind of my passion a little bit. Yeah. So, I mean, yes, my job is being the global brand ambassador. I go around to countries talking about IT Cosmetics. And I actually posted this earlier that I love talking about IT Cosmetics, but my favorite topic within it is confidence.
Yes.
Because it's more than you just, I love that you love Bye Bye Under Eye. That's amazing. I mean, it's an amazing product. I don't need to tell you anything about it. I can hand it to you and you'll love it. But I think what is interesting is that as a brand, and what aligned me to work for this brand was it was about we're confidence building. So there is this part of me is that anytime I do a training or I'm in a meeting is do I let people feel more confident about themselves by the time I walk out? And that is more than just talking about makeup. That is like an inside job. So, but I actually have a master's in clinical counseling.
No way.
I know, that's my education. So my undergrad, I have an undergrad in psychology, and then I got a master's in clinical counseling. I have been passionate about helping people I think since I was little. And I think some of that comes from my own upbringing and my own heartaches and, you know, challenges that I've walked through in that piece. And so, you know, when you work for a brand on confidence is our thing, right? We have a product called Confidence in a Cream. It can really quickly turn into a marketing term. You confident girl, you know, or something like that. And that's actually the antithesis of what the word is. And confidence is an inside job. So I'm really passionate about that, of reminding people that they are who they're called to do what you're called to do. And I think all of us have something every single day that we're supposed to do, but sometimes we get really caught up in what I like to call the inner critic, you know, that voice that just keeps, that person. Mine is nasty. She is loud and obnoxious, but I work really hard to, you know, address her, to hear her. Because I think sometimes that critique can be something that fuels good stuff, but also where is the parts that are really good. And so I've been on a long journey of this. I fell into cosmetics.
Tell us about that.
I just wanted to make cash.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest with you. I had been doing so much stuff in community mental health. So working with stuff, and it was exhausting, and I was wiped out.
Yeah.
And I was working for a company with with mental health, and they couldn't pay me. They ran out of grant money.
Okay.
So I needed to pay, like, you know, bills.
So mortgage and stuff.
I actually got my first job behind a counter, and I realized for myself, because I am truly diagnosed ADHD, like I'm on medicine and everything for it, that my brain, the creative side, could actually paint your face. And then the other part of me could actually hear what was going on. And there was this magic that happened for me, is that I could really be present with someone because this part was doing all the stuff. And I was very successful at it. And I remember my parents going, you did not move I went to the Midwest to go to school. I'm from California. You did not move there to work for, at the time it was with Clinique, to work for Clinique. You could have worked for Clinique here. And I was like, I think this is my calling. And my whole family was like, no, it's not. You need to finish your degree, right? And I remember being like, whatever. So I graduated. I did it for about 6 hot minutes. And I just found that in community mental health, it wasn't the space I was supposed to be in when it comes to counseling. That's not how I work the best. That's not my talent. And I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned, is that just because the world says it should look like this doesn't mean that's actually the best thing for you. And I think when you're trying to stay in a certain way, that's when confidence gets thrashed. Because you're supposed to be who you are. So I literally, I started working for Benefit. I was actually with Benefit Cosmetics for 10 years. And I started behind the counter with them. And I was like, I am meant to do this. I know no one in my life gets it. And I turned down a full-time job to do therapy after my master's, after I graduated. Everyone in my life, including my best friends, were like, you're making a mistake. I didn't have health insurance. I couldn't save. I could barely pay my student loans back. I had enormous student loans, and everyone thought I was crazy, but I was like, no. This is what I'm meant to do. And so I kind of just grew from there. And I think what's interesting is, like, I'm a sales girl. I mean, you're seeing, and I'm chatty. But it was these moments with customers in the chair that I was like, oh, this is the magic moment for me. And what was hard a little bit was, as I grew in my profession, you grow out of being on the floor. You know, you get promoted into corporate, which was a big thing. So I had to learn and change and adapt to, okay, how do I still have these interactions when I'm working with the same people in L'Oreal? And maybe we're not talking about that. Like, what does confidence look like? And what does me doing what I'm called to do, which makes me confident? You know, if you think about it, when you do something you're meant to do, like, you can feel it in your bones. There's confidence attached to that.
Yes, that's right.
You know, and I think for me, that was the big challenge. And that was the challenge for me during COVID. I mean, COVID stripped me of any ounce of confidence. I honestly have said to my girlfriends this week that I think my time in Singapore and Malaysia so far has actually, I feel like I'm getting my mojo back a little bit.
Refueled your confidence.
Yeah, because I went from someone, we were talking about this, I speak in front of lots of people. I feed off of a crowd. Energy. I mean, there's nothing like seeing someone's face, to all of a sudden on a Teams call or Zoom, whatever you're speaking to, and you're looking at yourself. It's the confidence killer. And all of a sudden I'm supposed to be, like, you know, encouraging you about confidence, and I'm like,
through a screen, it's hard. It's not the same.
I'm like, I'm in my pajamas on the bottom and I'm depressed and crying just like you. And so that was kind of this challenge for me of, like, you know, as the global brand ambassador who speaks about confidence, how do I speak about it in an authentic way and true way, instead of it just being like a checking of the box? Let's get on your podcast. Let me give you a bunch of stats. But instead of being like, 1, 2, 3, no, we're not doing that. Who has time for that? You know, we're not doing that. And you can't read a confidence mantra and feel better. You feel worse, I think, when it's like, you know, when people were like, it's an inside job. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of depressing when you think about it. It means it's all on me.
Man, you know what? I feel like we're already in deep into the conversation we're supposed to have. I've not even asked the first question, I love that. Like, your story, I think it's so inspiring how you really found the confidence when no one around you had that confidence in you. To do what you do.
It's true. And I think I've had that challenge every time.
Yeah.
You know, and I find what's interesting is people will describe me as confident all the time.
Yeah.
They'll say, oh, Shannon, she's so confident. And I'm always like, and I have felt like a liar. I would say that. Like, I'm a hypocrite. I get on these lives. I do conversations with you. I speak to people. I talk about confidence. But at the end of the day, that's something I was struggling with. And so I think, you know, the beauty, I was talking to you earlier about this whole theory. I have this part about wanting to talk about the middle. Because I am so tired of hearing people go through like a really bad situation. And then I hear about it when it's all great and it's the Disney version. And I'm like, no, what did you do on Tuesday? You know, like that's what I want to know. I don't care about everything going well. And so what does that look like? And I think that was something for me, you know, it took me a year and a half to come to the brand. So I lived in California. The brand was based in New Jersey. I met with Jamie Kernlima, who is the co-founder, and she, you know, you got to come here. And I was like, at the time I had my own business. So I'm known for waxing. I had my own business. I was making brow products at the time. I have the best tweezers you've ever tried in your life before. You can't get them anymore. So that's an easy plug. And, well, I have them at home. I'll send you a pair. But
noted.
Yeah, noted. Yeah. But for me, it was like, do I join something or do I continue on my own thing? That was a hard thing for me to make a decision because I felt like what I was building could be something really strong. But there was something where Jamie, to me, was giving me a platform to speak on that I had never had in other cosmetic companies. And I love the two brands that I worked for at the core of who I am. But there was something where she really was like, you know what? Instead of, here's what's wrong with you and here's the two products that will fix you, she was like, someone's beautiful regardless. I don't care if they buy. I have never heard that in my career in cosmetics.
It was first time hearing it when the brand approached me.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was powerful. And that is who she is to the, that is her to the core.
The DNA of the brand.
Yeah, the DNA of the brand. And so there was this part of me that was like, well, this is what I am actually really passionate about. And I really do want to build that in people, and makeup is my medium. It's the thing that gets me on the stage, but it is not the message that I'm wholeheartedly giving. And so that was kind of the piece of it for me personally. So it was this perfect marriage as the brand, because that is who the brand is. What is confidence? You know, Jamie always wanted to make sure, do people feel more confident when she get done speaking? She'd ask that. Do you think people, and I would be like, we sold a lot of money. Isn't that what matters? You know, but her way of challenging me and asking me really hard questions was something that was there. And that's what I love about the brand, is that we've kicked off this whole thing about confidence at work. It'll hit here in about a year. We just launched it on the States, but like authentic, real stuff, like brain science of helping you learn, not just you got this, girl. You know, it's like, you know, I mean, we all laugh, right? Because that's the reality. We have attended so many meetings on confidence. I've listened to the best speakers ever, but we will launch this in about a year with Malaysia. But we just launched in the US. It's all about confidence at work. And here's the things I thought were really interesting for stats that kind of, I don't know, when you hear a stat, sometimes you're like, ooh, that hurt. That I felt that, right? Is that, do you know that only 4% of women working are actually confident in their job?
No
4%.
way.
So the reality is, you and I are not confident in our job. We struggle with it.
We do. And I do struggle with it.
Struggle, you know, in that, and that the women usually get more confident at age 60. It's because they don't care anymore. Right. And I just thought, how do I become 60 now? You know, like,
I don't want to wait till 60 to be confident.
No,
I want to be confident
I want to be confident now. And if you think about it, think about how many young girls, you know, this is, you'll hear me say this a lot, is that I want to change the conversation in beauty.
Yes.
I want women to look in the mirror and see what's right and not what's wrong. Because I'll sit down with somebody, they'll tell me their 5 flaws they hate about themselves before their first name. Think about that.
I've said this before. Name me 5 things you love. I will not name myself first or the last.
No,
you're right.
It might not even be in there.
Exactly.
And how do we change that? You know, for me, I want little boys and little girls 15 years from now to not be able to not do that anymore. To not, you know, I mean, how often do you look in the mirror? Maybe in the morning, you're like, oh, okay, everything works out. And then you use the bathroom in the middle of the day, you look in the mirror to wash your hands and you go, ugh.
I look like shit.
Yeah. I see, not only do I do it, I watch when I'm washing my hands sometimes, first of all, I'm like, are you washing appropriately? But, you know, I'm watching and I'm like, wow, you do it too. I see the glaze up, I see the disappointment, and then back down. And I just think, God, you're so much more than what you look like. And if you believe that, we got to change that. And I think at the end of the day, the beauty industry has taught that. And so I feel this mission to kind of reverse it and change it and really empower men and women to feel their most confident.
I love that. And it's so true though. Everything that you said just hit the spot. And it hit a spot in me that like the thing you just said, like not feeling good enough.
Yeah.
Like I feel like shit. I look
All
like
the time.
shit.
Yeah.
I say I'm confident. People think I'm confident, but the truth is deep down inside, I struggle so much with what I'm doing sometimes.
Oh, I mean, if we just talk about COVID, it's funny. I had a conversation with a colleague last week and she was like, what? That was her response to me. And I said, I didn't realize I was good at my job.
You didn't realize?
No. Oh. I thought I was horrible at my job. I thought at any moment I was getting fired because I wasn't good. I wasn't connecting. I wasn't doing this. And, people will go, oh my gosh, you're so good. But for the entire COVID, I cried almost every day because I didn't feel good at my job. Yeah. And there was a moment, I actually shared this with my friends. There was a moment in Singapore, I'm, in front of the store, I'm doing my spiel, whatever. I kind of, when you give me a mic, I literally think I'm selling knives. That's like what I do to tell myself. But there was a moment where I had all these women listening to me and talking to me. And I thought, own it, Shannon. Stop listening to, oh, there could have been more people here. Oh no, that person didn't laugh at your joke. It was like, no. And I literally had this moment for me where I was like, we're done doing this. And then I was like, you're good at what you do. Everyone's listening to you. People are walking in, go. And it was this like pump up where and it was funny because afterwards they were like, whoa. And it was the same thing. And I think even when I did Malaysia, my second round of the KOLs, the first one, I was like a little nervous, right? Yeah. And then when I did the second one, it was like, I'm done not believing in myself anymore. That is so exhausting. And you know what it is? It's missing out on the people in the room. Yeah. Because when I believe in myself and I really come at it and do that, it's the best presentation. And so even like after the second one, when Carol came up to me, I was like, I nailed that. And you would have never heard me say that. And it's this part of me that's like, okay, I have to start with me. I can't tell you to be confident without going, Shannon, listen to your own advice and own it. And I'm not in competition with you. This is the one thing I think women were so competitive with one another.
Yes. They pit against each other unknowingly, unconsciously.
I agree.
Really.
It's never vindictive. Yeah. It is this like, oh, I'm not as thin as you. Oh, your legs are longer than mine. And then I go into this world and I'm like, no. Maggie has this talent and she's meant to do that. I have this talent and I'm meant to do it. How awesome is this moment that our paths get to cross and both of our talents are coming together? Yeah. Like, why can't we start doing that conversation and be like, this is who I am? And I think that's where, to me, it's an inside job.
It really is. And I think you've been talking about how confidence is an inside job. Yeah. I want to dive deeper into that. Maybe before that, though, there's this question I don't want to forget to ask.
Okay.
Since you work with women for years and years and years, I want to know what are some of the most detrimental beliefs or traps or self-talk that you've heard and you've seen that has withheld people, someone from being confident?
First of all, that we could go down a really bad rabbit hole and cry in a minute. I think I've heard some of the saddest things with someone sitting in my chair of like, I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I'm not, I'll hear this all the time. I'm not as pretty as you. And I'm like, what? Have you looked at yourself? You're gorgeous. My first reaction is you're prettier. Nobody likes me. I don't know how to do makeup. And it's like, the thing that I say is this inner critic, right? This person that's talking. And I find that sometimes it just distracts you. Yeah. And so I think where you have a situation where you don't do that, but the one that kills me all the time is I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, we're all worthy. Yeah. We're all worthy. Like, I don't know who told you that, but that's such a lie. But if I'm honest, I believe it. I listen to that word sometimes. I actually wear a necklace that says worthy to remind myself on my hard days. And so those are the ones that I think are challenging. And then what I think they do is they cause this distraction. So if I'm not pretty enough, let's just say this, I'm not pretty enough, I might not go up to that person and talk to them. I don't have the confidence. I might not interview for that job that I'm meant to do. And what if, I always think to myself, like, what if you were to interview for that job and get that job and you were the missing piece to figuring out cancer? Whoa, because you didn't believe in yourself. Like, and I think that's the thing is that we're so, it's almost this confidence is almost like insecurity inside out. You're so fixated on yourself that you're missing the whole point of what's going on. Yeah. And that's where I think confidence gives you the freedom to stop thinking about yourself 24/7 and really to be in the moment and think about other people. And I think that is what I find the freedom in confidence.
Yeah. And she answered my next question, which was how to break away from that mindset. Because, the amount of stereotypes that's kind of like been fed to us.
Oh.
through
it's
the media.
Exhausting.
Every single day.
Yeah.
The moment you open your eyes, let's be honest, we go on Instagram,
We do.
okay?
We do.
Don't lie. Don't say you don't. You do.
Yeah,
Eventually
we all
you
do.
do.
We all
Some
do.
parts of the day. And this whole vicious cycle of feeling compared to or like feeling not good enough
Right.
is just ingrained in us every single day. So to break away from that mindset sometimes can feel so hard, no matter how much you say that to yourself.
It's so true. And I think, one of the things as It Cosmetics, it's like, I think, I don't know if you've heard this a lot too, is like, there's all these different steps I need to do, right?
Yeah.
Now I got to start a gratitude journal. Love that. Think it's a great idea. But I don't know if I have time to do that. Yeah. I am trying to change that in myself to be more grateful. I work on that personally, but I felt like a lot of times when I listen to people on confidence, it's like 19 steps to do it. And I'm like, I can barely get up in the morning and put my clothes on.
Exactly.
Okay. Like I would like an acclimate at all times for just getting up. But one of the things that I have been really passionate about, so we have a product called Confidence in a Cream.
Yes.
And it's coming out supercharged.
Oh, I finished like 2 tubs already.
Okay, so just get ready. It's so good. If you're listening to this or you're watching me and you've tried it, you know how good it is. But here's the thing that I kind of like when I had the product, and we have confidence in a beauty sleep at night, right? So if I take my morning cream and I call it 5 dots to confidence, I just, 5 dots on my face. I look in the mirror and I tell myself in the morning, what are you going to be confident at, Shannon? Because if it's an inside job and that inner critic is going, I have to give her different communication than just all the negative that's going on. So there's something for me in the morning because I'm already putting it on.
Yeah.
It's not another step in my diary.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I need to get better at it. But when I'm looking in the mirror and it's like, okay, so let's just take this morning, for instance.
Yeah.
All right, you're doing content videos. It's the first time you've been in front of a crew and since COVID, so blah, blah, blah. Instead of being like, my hair's not going to work out, all the things, right? It's like, you're going to deliver really good content.
Yeah.
And you're going to do a podcast today.
You said that to yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to do a podcast today and you're going to be really transparent and honest and it's going to be really good. And it's going to be your biggest rating ever. That's what I'm going to say, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it will
We're going to
be.
share it like everywhere. And then, my third one is like my own, a personal thing for myself.
Yes.
And then at night, so this is the part where I find the morning one is a little bit easier. It's the night one, because you talked about this a little bit.
Yeah.
When I am putting my beauty sleep on at night, what did I do really well? And that sometimes, if I'm honest, is a harder one for me to look at. Will I tonight, I don't get back to the hotel in Bangkok for a while, but will I look in the mirror and say, you killed it today, Shannon, on that podcast. We're proud of you. Like those are the things, the conversations that have to stop. And so for me, what I love about this brand and the stories I've heard, oh my gosh, we would sit here and cry for hours. And confidence came from customers. That was not a marketing term. That was truly customers telling us. And I have this amazing, can I tell you this story?
Please do.
Because this is the story that kind of like kicked me in the face.
Okay.
So I'm at a store in the United States and I'm with Jamie at the time and it's in a personal appearance. So these are huge. There's like 300 people in the room, right? It's crazy busy. And it's my first time I get to use the restroom, right?
Okay.
I've worked solid. So we've all been there, right? We're
Yes.
tired, we're exhausted. We're at the point where we don't know if we like people
Yeah.
anymore as a people person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just want to go to the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
So I am just like beelining it to go to the bathroom. And out of the corner of my eye, I see this woman sitting with a makeup artist. And there was something about her. It was so much of a pull that I went over and I said, hey, I just want to let you know, you look stunning. And she says, these products changed my life. Now, you don't know me this well, Maggie. I am super sarcastic. And I was like, oh, really? How did they change your life? Right? Did they fold your clothes and put them away? That's life-changing to me.
Yeah.
But like a product changing your life, I'm just like super sarcastic and bitter party of one because I'm tired. And so she says to me, yeah, I watched so Jamie started on QVC, which is a home shopping network, where she, in her own thing, takes her makeup off. You see me take my makeup all the time. You see my red skin. And she shows it out. And the whole point of that is to show women that we're all normal, right? So she says, I see Jamie take her makeup off and I think to myself, wow, she's so brave. And I thought that to me. So the therapist in me is like, wow, you made that correlation. Like, how many people I did counseling with for 30 something weeks who never could see that correlation.
Yeah.
So there's a part of me that's like in this part, like intrigued, right?
Yes.
And she says, yeah, I did it. So when I bought the product and it came home, I put it on the next morning, and I asked myself how I could be more brave. And my mouth is kind of like, wow. And I said, that's incredible. That part of the story is amazing. And she said, you know what? I left the man who beat me for 15 years. And my mouth dropped to the floor and I said, really? She said, yeah, I moved into a halfway house. So in the United States, they'll put you in a home that protects you. Yeah. You lose all of your stuff. And she said, and my family kept buying me the product because it was the thing that was keeping her brave. Yeah. And I said, I'm looking at her like, yeah, right? Wow. And she goes, but that's not where it ends. And I'm like, I'm good with the first part of the story. We're going all the way in, right? And she said, I kept using it. And so you know what? About I don't know how many years, I think at this point it was like 3 years ago, I always wanted to do this profession. I can't remember the profession she wanted to do. So I went back to school in my 50s.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm happy to tell you, because I watched her on QVC take her makeup off. I left the man who beat me for 15 years. I met the love of my life. I'm married to the most amazing man, and I'm doing the job I always wanted to do because of CC cream. And my jaw is like on the ground. Right. So I'm like, you're meeting Jamie. None of these other people are meeting Jamie. And I'm, making eyes with the person with her. And she's like, I don't need to meet Jamie. She already did everything for me.
Oh my gosh.
It is my honor to support her and tell everyone my story. And I'm just like, Jamie comes over, and I'm looking at her and I said, well, it's an honor for me to introduce you to Jamie Kernlima. She starts sobbing hysterically, right? And Jamie's looking at me like, what's going on? And then I'm like, let me tell you about, and then I lose it.
Yeah.
Like lose it. Jamie starts crying with me. All three of us are sobbing like crazy people. But there was something in me that was like, oh, these products are far more than just makeup. There's something about it. And, isn't that the beauty that maybe cosmetics kind of caused a lot of the insecurity for women?
That's true.
But what I find interesting is that you can heal in the place you were wounded. So if makeup made you feel bad, why can't makeup remind you how good you are? And that is what I think It Cosmetics does so well, is doing that. Like, I love that you said, I use Bye Bye Under Eye, and that's all I'm wearing. Yeah. Great. If that product is the one product that you have to wear that makes you feel good, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And I don't need to sell you 30 more products.
Yeah, you don't.
I'm happy with the one for you.
Exactly.
Although I do think Nude Glow is going to be your new favorite.
I know that's the new one that we're going to be talking about, right? Gosh. I mean, it's so true. Like what you were talking about, how like just the media, like especially the beauty industry, there's always something new. There's always a new way to look better. Unrealistic, sometimes toxic. I won't say all of them were, but sometimes
there can be
can be a little bit toxic about how we are supposed to feel, how we're supposed to look like. And it gets really tiring because it's almost like every other week there's a different look I'm supposed to follow, that's supposed to be able to be good at.
And I'm nowhere near that.
Yeah.
It's like not even an option to look like that. Yeah. No. And I think, you can't, I don't want to I love the industry. Obviously I've been in it for decades. I love it. But there is a part where, you'll hear me when I do trainings, I'm like, my teeth aren't wide enough. My hair's not blonde enough. My legs aren't long enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not any of these things. And it's like, oh, wait, what if we went back? And I think that as you see this as a brand, we try to show all shapes and sizes. It's not just, diversity is not just shade range. Yeah. Diversity is how a woman looks, her body, every single different things. And how do we do that? And how do we do that well? And that is our challenge to ourselves. Like, we try to use a lot of real women, and we don't retouch. I don't know if you know this.
I know that. By the way, you guys, It Cosmetics, would you say posters or like whatever visuals that you've seen, they don't touch up. And even some, the before, after, the before is absolutely no makeup, completely raw. That's what I know.
And then you know what I love too, is that when you see the after, you'll still see crow's feet. Yeah. You'll still see that. I mean, we don't retouch, like they don't even retouch my headshots. Like I was like, can you just help a girl out a little bit? Like, can we just give me a little, I had too many fries the night before. I look a little puffy, and they were like, no, we don't retouch here. And I was like, oh, it's funny, but like, I love that we're so strict on that.
I love that
we won't do that, because is retouching building confidence in somebody? No, because it's not truth.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to see the woman's gray hair.
Yeah. I want to see it.
I want to see her double chin.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I want to see that real smile. I want to see the laughter. I want to see all of that. So that is something I'm proud. I'm really proud of that as a brand.
And it makes me so happy to be able to do that. Having a brand tell me, no, Maggie, please don't edit your photos. Just post it as it is.
I mean, I don't know about you. This could be a tangent, but like, I cannot stand the filters right now. I have a really hard time with them, the catfishing, because I'm watching someone's stories and I'm like, oh, she's so beautiful. Yeah. And then I try that filter and I was like, girl,
completely changes your face. It's just,
it's like, why are we doing that? Because little girls are watching that.
That's
and
true.
that's where you're learning I'm not enough. I'm not pretty enough. My eyes aren't, why does everyone have to have blue eyes?
My nose are not sharp enough. My chin's not long enough.
I'm exhausted from it. And I just think beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? We know this in dating, right? Yeah. We might not find the same person attractive. It doesn't mean that person's not attractive. It's in that sense. So I'm like, if that's the case of how we, connect with our mates, why is it that we have to look the same in everything else?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Super.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. My mind is just blown because it's so true. Like, personally, I struggle with confidence. Like you said, when you said that you appear confident, people say that you're confident all the time. I get that too, because that's the nature of my job.
What you do.
Having to be in front of the camera, having to be on stage and talk in front of thousands of people.
Yeah.
But the truth is, most of the times, I'm not going to lie, there were times where I'm actually confident. And then like 70% of the time that I'm just a nervous wreck deep down.
Oh, totally.
Wow. I mean, it's been 40 minutes of confidence chat today.
So it didn't even feel like it though.
I know, it felt like 5 seconds. Yeah. But yeah, we've been talking so much about confidence. Yeah. And there's just so many different forms and shapes of confidence. And it, like I always say this, confidence looks different on everyone. The way you are going to wear your confidence will not look the same if I would have the same exact amount of confidence that Shannon has. Yeah. And that's something that I feel like people should realize.
I agree.
Because a lot of the times, like I said before when we were chatting offline, I get told that I appear confident all the time, just like you are. Yeah. But for me, I felt like, oh, really? But I'm just doing my job. I've never, ever thought or even think about that I'm such a confident person, because to me, I was just kind of like doing the job, right? So I think maybe this next part of our conversation, we can kind of like really break down what is confidence really? Yeah. Is it about being loud, being out there speaking about something you're passionate about? Because I remember you said something about someone who is confident, don't do that. Yeah. Not all the time.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a big misconception is that if you're outgoing and exciting and you're a good speaker, like you and I do that. Extroverted, you're confident. I think that's such a lie. It's such a false thing. And I think, to me, confidence is quiet. Confidence is this inner strength that is hard sometimes to put into words. And I love that you said this, that confidence looks different for everybody. We did a training for all my educators around the world, and I had them all write what confidence meant for them. And they all had a little different, but a lot of similarities. Yeah. And I love that it was different because there is something about belief in yourself. But I think it's an inner strength and it's a trust. Do you trust yourself in this situation? Do you trust that you can go for that job? Do you trust that you can do a podcast and get it going? Those are the parts on there. But I think confidence is actually quiet. It's a steadiness in you that doesn't need to be shout from the rooftops. I don't need to go on and be like, I'm feeling confident. That's so awkward, right? But confidence is the, starting a podcast, even when maybe it's not a big deal in Malaysia. What if this could be the next thing? I'm sure there's a million people that are blessed by your thing. I don't know about a million,
but we hope to get there someday.
I'm going to call it out. Let's call it out. Let's just call it out today. But I think there is a part that it is, I think that's what I would say. It's an inside job, but it's also a steadiness. And extroverted versus introverted, not one is better than the other. And I think often people get that really confused. It's how you get your energy from somebody. Yeah. Do you get around people and you get more excited, or do you get your energy by being by yourself? And that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. I am obviously a people person, but my brother, who is just like me in personality in this aspect, is an introvert. He needs his time alone. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, the more the merrier, And that's the part of, understanding yourself and trusting yourself on that piece.
Yeah. And I think it's true when they say the loudest person in the room may not be the most confident.
Or know what they're talking about. Yeah. And oftentimes I could be the loudest person in the room. Let's be honest. So I think sometimes there is this part, I think too, as women, as being confident and having a steadiness is actually, not just, everyone says like, I've been muted. I'm like, no, pass the mic. Yeah. Don't just unmute someone, actually hand the mic and listen to hear the feedback. And I think sometimes the people that are the most confident, that have that steadiness, are quiet. because they don't feel this
need
anxiety to share everything, right? And I think that's something really interesting.
Yeah, and the need to kind of like explain themselves because they don't take things personally. They are so firm in what they think they know. Like that. They're so steady, like you said, that they don't need to explain themselves too much.
No, and I think, some people who do feel like they have to explain themselves, they might have a strength of communication. Yes. So that's actually what's happening there in that situation. But there is a part of like not having to say you're sorry for something. I don't know if this is a big thing in Malaysia, but a lot of times women will be like, oh, I'm so sorry I was late. Even if you weren't late. I'm so, it's just like, I'm sorry for everything, right? Like in that where it's like confidence is not having to say I'm sorry.
Thank you for waiting.
Thank you for waiting.
I'm learning to practice that, by the way.
Same.
I am learning. It's not my best trait. I say sorry too much, but
you probably have a very long history of saying I'm sorry. So it is not going to change overnight. Yes. And I think that is the big piece where, going back to using confidence in a cream and actually calling those things out, you're changing the routine of your mind to do that. Like I highly challenge you to do it, but to do it for 30 days before you talk about it.
Okay.
Because you'll forget a few days. You have to go back. But I think you've got to figure that piece out.
Yeah. I think that is something I'm going to take up.
I love it.
I'll take up your challenge.
I love it.
And I'll check in again in 30 days.
I can't wait.
But I think I also want to talk about kind of taking things personally. I think I'm someone who can be, I think I talked about my ego in the previous episode, how I finally admitted that I've got quite a big ego and sometimes it's hard for me to admit things and to say sorry. It's funny. It's hard for me to say sorry, but at the same time, I say sorry so much.
Well, to say sorry about something that means something.
Yeah.
You can say sorry about bumping in or, stuff that's like, you're not really sorry.
Exactly. So I'm not really sorry. So it's so easier for me to say sorry for. And I think I want to know, like, do you take things personally a lot? And how do you kind of get out of that and just kind of let it pass, be okay with not taking it personally?
Yeah, I think, I had a really good conversation about this a couple of days ago, is that, of course, I'm going to take things personal.
Yeah.
And
it's unreal to say no, I don't.
It's unreal. Anyone who says they don't, I'm like, liar. Because that's not truth. But of course I do things. Of course my feelings get hurt. Of course my ego can be big. I'm human, right? So I think that's the first step, is realizing like that's the reality of it. I think for me, the thing I've been working on big time is the narrative inside my head. I think sometimes I can perceive what you're saying wrong and create a whole new story in my head.
Spiral. Yeah.
And totally. It's a total spiral. Instead of being like, all right, stop.
Yeah.
What's the truth? What did you actually hear? And going back to clarify it with you. And I think sometimes if I can't stop to clarify it with you, I need to go based off of my experience with you. And I think sometimes, is this truly something that I need to take personal? Because sometimes, right? Yeah, sometimes people give hits. Or is this something that is causing me to spiral in an area that needs to do that? And I think that has been my biggest lesson the last year, to be honest, of learning to change the narrative. Because my narrative has been, it's been a hard year for me personally. And how do I go back and say, nope, that's not truth. That's actually not the truth. This is the truth. And I think I think this is where your community is so important and your girlfriends are so important to you. I call my girlfriends my elephants. I actually have a tattoo to remind myself of them. And so a lot of times I process that. Yeah. Hey, this is what was said. And they'd be like, actually, Shannon, that's not what we heard. And I'd be like, no, but you don't understand. And they're like, no, that's not what we heard. What if it was this? Yeah. And I think sometimes it has to come out. Yeah. You could do that. So you need to find it with your safe group of people. I mean, you don't tell this to everybody. And I think that's the problem, is that people get offended and then they tell everybody what happened and they were actually wrong the whole time.
Yeah. Oh my, okay. Yeah, because I'm just like in this journey and like this process of learning how not to take things personally from certain people, because my life's pretty public.
Yep.
There are things that people say about the way I look. Oh. I've learned to like just brush them off because they don't matter.
But it's hard sometimes.
I'm not gonna lie, it's hard.
People have no idea how hard it is sometimes.
Yeah, I've gotten one recently asking me, how are you even a coach? You don't even look like one.
Wow,
how am I supposed to look like then? I don't know. Yeah. So I ask question actually. So that's what I do when I feel.
I call those people gangster keyboardists because they would never say that to your face. You know, I think this is where social media has made a lot of people far more critical than they would ever say to your face. Yeah. So there is a part of me that when I see some of that, first of all, I am very vocal. If someone wrote that on your post, I would write back to them.
Right.
Because, you know, friends protect friends. Yes. And I think that's one thing. The second thing is that, you know, same thing. I'll do a live and then like, people, I mean, I had one live where I got on and did it and the person was like, she's so fat and ugly. Why is she doing makeup on things? And it was like, it was jarring. Yeah. And I had to be like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. That's so hurtful because one, those are my two insecurities. Yeah. You just hit me between the eyes. And it was literally like, keep going, keep going. But at the same time, it's like, oh, you know what? I actually don't get my worth or who I think I am from someone's response to me on Instagram. Easier said than done because there are some days it can take me out. Yes. But at the end of the day, who's in my life speaking into my life that is actually the opinion I want to know? Yeah. You know, it's like, I always say you have your masses. We have big masses. Yes. We have a lot of people they do see our lives. We're on stories. We're doing that. And they get to have opinions. But this is what I think is so interesting with confidence. Yes. Those opinions can help us spiral. But what's interesting to me is how many great comments did you get in the same thing of, you're so good, I'm so encouraged. But what do we do as humans? We actually fixate on the three negative things instead of the positive. And that's confidence, that trust inside of you that says, you know what? I might be fat to you, I might be ugly to you, but there are probably 200 more people that are learning something as I'm showing you how CC cream is 7 products in one and blends into the skin. What?
I love that plugin. Okay. I love that. So seamless. My goodness. I can never do that.
That's what I'm here for. But you know, that is a big challenge. Yeah. And I think unless you are on social media, you have no idea how painful it is. But you know, Brene Brown is like one of my favorites.
I love her.
Brene Brown's really amazing. I love her saying, and it's actually, she got it from, I can't remember the name right now, which is really awful because it is a president of the United States at some point, Roosevelt. So Brene Brown has this quote that she uses from Roosevelt. And you know, if you're not in the ring getting your ass kicked, then I really don't need to hear your opinion. Oh yeah. So my question to you is when someone gives you that comment, the confidence in you should say, thank you so much. Yeah. But if I said that to you, someone who's in the ring doing it all the time, that's something to maybe go, okay, that's where your ego needs to die and go, okay, let me ask that question. But someone in the ring getting their ass kicked is not going to ask you that question like that, right? We're just not going to do that. So I think that's something I've had to teach myself in this part of like, not everyone's going to love me. There's going to be a lot of people who can't stand me. Yeah. Great. You don't have to be around me. Stop following me. But the people that I make an impact in, that's what I'm here for. And if I fixate on that, that is this trust in myself, trust in what I'm called to do, the confidence piece that is what it's all about, you know? Yeah. And I think, you know, that's something that challenges me on a daily basis. It's something I have to work at all the time.
It's a continuous way. It's a lifetime of work, really.
I'm never going to arrive. I'm never going to master it. Yeah. I'm going to skid through, probably not feeling confident, but it's something you have to work at. But I just think I'm exhausted with the other way. I'm tired of the other way. I'm tired of the, you know, making fun of ourselves or talking down to ourselves or taking the hits. I'm just tired of it. It does nothing for what I'm called to do. Yeah.
I realized through our almost an hour conversation, you're very big on self-talk. And a very big, I mean, you've placed a lot of emphasis in your inner critic and how you deal with that inner critic. Yeah. That other part of Shannon.
Yeah.
Right?
She's loud.
She's loud. And like you said, obnoxious.
She's obnoxious, but she can be really fierce. Yeah. And she can really help me in a lot of things.
And sometimes you have to sit her down.
You have to sit her down. Yeah. You know, I was on a date with a guy and he asked me, how would you be friends with the person who talks to you all day long? Like your inner critic. Okay. Would you be friends with her? And does she say the good things? And I remember thinking, this is like date number 2, you know, like what are we doing? But we were doing 21 questions, whatever. I love that. And when he asked me that question, I was kind of like, I was really taken back. And I said, you know, 70% of the time I really like her. I really like what she says. I respect her, but there's 30% of the time and I'm working on it. And I remember him looking at me, he was like, that's a really honest question, honest answer. And I said, yeah. So I think there is a part where I I'm really careful what I let sit inside my soul and what I listen to and what I watch and who I allow, whose energy I allow in, because I believe that it affects me. I know that.
And I think I just want to put it out there, like to those of you who are listening, I know for some of you, this whatever that everything that we've been talking about feels so far-fetched to you. You feel like you can never do that, what Shannon said, but know that it really is a work in progress.
It's baby steps.
Yeah, it's not just because you've listened to what we've said, the next thing you know, you're going to be the most confident person in the room. No, it's not going to be like that, okay?
No, it's not. I've lost 37 kilos for you. It's almost 80 pounds for me in the States. And it's funny when I do my side-by-sides, and everyone does the acclimate, I'm more impressed with the girl on the left, the heavier one, because she had the grit to do something. Not the girl today, right? I love who I am today and I'm proud of myself, but there is something that I would just say to those of you who are listening who are like, oh, this is overwhelming, I can't do it. Just start with something little. You don't need to change the world tomorrow, but there's enough grit in you to actually make a change in yourself. And I'm not really concerned what it is because it's different for everybody. Maybe you need to work on your inner critic like me, or maybe you need to, join a yoga class or whatever you need to do. But whatever it is that you need, I think you know it in your soul. What's the little thing? For me, it was walking. That's how I started all of my stuff. I just started walking and processing some stuff outside. And I think that's the part, everyone can do it. And it takes that little grit to actually start the change. It's not a big I'm going to do all of this. I'm going to do all these things.
It was mystical, like 10 steps to be confident.
No,
really
it wasn't a meal prepping for me. It wasn't all that. It was going out and taking a walk in my neighborhood. It was this little thing. It was that girl got up every morning and said, I'm just going to choose myself in one way today. And that's how I think, for me, I will say I've birthed a confidence this year walking through what I've walked through. Because she had enough grit to do it.
Oh my God.
So that's what I would say is no matter where you are on the spectrum of confidence, whether you're listening, you're like, girl, I don't even need to listen anymore, that I'm so confident. Or you're like, I don't feel worthy either, Shannon. I'm here to tell you, you are worthy. And whatever your journey is to get you to feeling worthy, just start with one step, one little step.
Just one step. I think it's so true. I need to say this though. I used to be this person who has the habit of only doing something when I feel like I'm confident enough. Only doing something when I think I'm good enough. Only doing something when I've mastered that skill. Until I realize I'm never going to be enough because if I don't take the first step, I'm never going to get there.
Right.
So it's kind of like just starting this podcast. I told myself, I don't think I can do this. I'm not that great. There's no one else doing this. How can I even start something like this? What am I going to do? But I'm glad, like you said, I took that first step, made my mistake, try again.
Totally.
Find out what I can be better at, try again, and that's how I get to being enough. And then try again.
And that's the story people want to listen to. Nobody wants to hear that you got on here and you nailed it the first time. I'm sorry.
I hated my first season. Can I just say that right now? I hated it. I can't listen to myself. But
but how many people are still listening to you from the first season because they got to be a part of the journey with you? And I think that's something to think about is that, I was telling you, I want to talk about the middle, right? I don't want to hear the Disney ending. I actually want to hear how you failed and what you did. What got you out of your funk? If you were depressed and couldn't get out of bed for 2 weeks, what was it that you did? And maybe that works for you and maybe it doesn't work for me. But that's the story I want to hear. That's what I'm intrigued with. I'm not intrigued with perfection.
Yeah. And just reminded me of a couple of comments I got in season 1 telling me that I shouldn't be doing this. What the hell am I doing?
I don't know.
But the thing is, it was that comment that pushed me further.
There you go.
I wanted to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
So I kind of channeled that differently. And
totally.
Yeah, I think it helps. So whoever
I think
it is,
sometimes it helps and sometimes it
doesn't.
It really
is
traumatic.
How.
So I think where I would say I'm very much the same way. If someone tells me no, I'm like, watch me. Right? I just go into this other mode. But it's the part of you is that you're doing a journey and you're probably teaching somebody how to do this.
Yeah.
Who might start a podcast, who might say something to someone that might keep them from doing something, may take them out of their funk or might, you know what I mean? We don't know the triple effect.
Yes.
Your job, I was saying this earlier, your job is only to throw seeds in life. You're meant to, and that's really truly our job, right? We're more throwing seeds.
Yeah,
we don't necessarily walk with people through every day in and day out.
Yeah.
But my job is just to encourage you and empower you for the day. And if I'm too fixated on myself, I've missed the point.
Wow. We have lots to unpack. I hope you guys were taking notes, but it's okay. You can play this on repeat. So
yeah,
we are coming close to the end of this conversation. I mean, man, it's been an hour, by the way.
Crazy.
I know it's crazy. I know we can go on for hours.
I did tell you I could talk for hours.
I know. She already gave me the heads up. I know. But Bella is like, round up.
Bella's like, chop, you guys.
And you have a flight to catch.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually the real issue
Shannon,
here.
You can't go on for hours.
I literally go to Bangkok. They're like, where were you? I'm like, I'm still talking. I'm not in Bangkok. Oops.
So yes, I think to kind of like sum it up, really, I know we say there's no 1, 2, 3, 4 steps to build confidence.
Correct.
But I think there is still actionable steps that we can take to build our confidence for whoever it is that's listening to this right now. You may need this. So Shannon, could you tell us maybe what are some of the steps or things that our listeners can do to feel confidence?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's not steps. I feel like it's a zigzag. It's all over the place. It looks like a 2-year-old who drew all over a painting. That's what it should look all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And yours should not look like mine, and they should not look like Maggie's.
No. Yeah.
So I would say the first thing is, I think I said this a little bit earlier, it's just tiny little steps towards it. And I think, the first thing is I always say the first thing you need to do is actually put it out on paper, where you're thinking and feeling, like get it out of your head. My therapist would always say, get it up and out, Shannon, get it up and out, say all the things, because when it stays inside, that's when it gets to brew this nasty story. So, put it out there. Even if it's in your own journal, like, I don't feel worthy, write it. I don't feel good enough, write it. I don't feel pretty enough, write it. Because once it's up and out, then it's kind of this reality of like, that is a little bit of a lie, right? Or maybe it's not for you. Maybe you do believe it, but I would do that. I think if I am a huge advocate of therapy. I think it is.
Yes, me too.
Honestly, one of the best things ever. I have a lot of friends who are therapists. I have a lot of friends who are life coaches, and my one friend says, therapy helps you deal with the past. Life coach helps you move forward. Mm-hmm. So I feel like both of them are needed.
And you have both?
I have both. I am in a group of friends that are all either life coach or therapist.
Amazing.
Or pastors. I mean, they're just kind of amazing. But one of the things I would say is that's where the first thing I would say is get it up and out.
Yes.
If you need a therapist, please get one. It's the best thing you could do for yourself. Like I know there's a little bit of stigma on it, but having somebody who's not in your life hear you out.
Yeah.
Woo. And I would say that for two, like if you're stuck in your career or you're stuck in what to do, a life coach is amazing to help you process that. So I would say get it up and get it out and get help. Yeah. Get a community. Maybe you don't want to do therapists, but get a group of girlfriends and actually start having really real and authentic conversations, because I think sometimes we could go out to drinks with our friends and we're like, oh my gosh, right? But it's another thing, for me this year forced me to talk about the hard stuff, to be like, this is where I'm at. And I needed that. And I needed my girlfriends. And, I don't know if you've heard the elephant story, but elephants in the wild, they will wrap around a female. The female elephants wrap around the female elephant when it's giving birth or harmed, and they kick up dust to protect it. And that's what female friendship should be. Like, if you're going down, Maggie, I'm going to come around and I'm going to kick up dust for you to distract anything that could attack further.
Wow.
And I think that's another thing, is find a good community. If you don't have a community, you might need to take a step out, get involved in something, do a hobby, do those things. That's the hardest thing for me sometimes, because I'm like,
put yourself out there.
Yeah, because I'm from a different state. I live, 6-hour plane ride from most of my people, and I don't want to make new friends. I already got friends.
And it's tiring.
It's exhausting, and I work all the time. So those are things that I would say on that part. And then just, I hope by listening today and hearing us that, like, I do believe in you. And I do believe that you have something to offer. I believe every person in this world was born for a purpose and a reason. And I hope we've encouraged you to stop listening to the distractions so you can actually do what you're called to do.
I love that so, so much. And again, it is a journey. And I hope this episode can kickstart your confidence journey for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And, it can be something little too. Like, I like little tangible things. Like, I love the giving keys. I don't know if you know a lot about them. It's a key with the word on it. You wear it and then you give it away when you meet that person. The other thing is that I wear jewelry, something like that. But to me too, why I love what I do is the products I sell. So it's like when you put CC cream on, you're not covering up. You know, you're literally making yourself feel your most confident. When you're using Confidence in a Cream, are you going to do the things I'm challenging you to do? And what are those everyday things that you're already doing? You know, the thing I love is that one, the products actually do what they're supposed to do. I don't know about you, but I've been in the industry for a long time and I've tap danced, you know, but like, do these products really come in handy? You know, when we were coming up with a name for CC Nude Glow, it was like,
I can't wait to try, by the way.
You're going to love it, but Nude Glow. How many of us are terrified to be in the nude? I mean, everyone, right? But could you imagine if just your skin came out? What I love, it's your skin, but better. And with Nude Glow, and you know, we've done all the work for you, right? We put an SPF 40 in it. It's 90% skincare, all of that. But when you're putting it on, my hope is that, you know, you're putting on all this amazing stuff, but at the end of the day with Nude Glow, you're actually shining through. And when there's a glow on the outside, you know, I always say like, when the glow's good, it's because the glow on the inside's better, you know? And how do you do that? So maybe maybe you need CC Nude Glow to get you going, right? You need that to help bring a little bit glow.
It helps as much as, you know, it's not covering up, but it's just bringing the best
I'm in a
version.
full face of makeup. Let's not act like I don't believe it. But, you know, maybe that Nude Glow is like the thing that you put on in the morning that reminds you like, I have something to give this world. What is my glow that I'm giving? And we did a thing with education where we have these cards that say glow with it. And the whole point was to write you a card and tell you how you glow and how it makes me want to glow better. Like your confidence, what you do, you starting this podcast, we were talking about this. I personally want to start one. That is giving me this like, maybe I should do it too. I can do it too.
You can totally do it.
And that's the part where I think that's what we're meant to do.
Yeah.
We're not meant to be in competition or to do that. We're meant to be like, I can't wait to continue to cheer you on. I can't wait to see how this grows. I can't wait to see when you go, we hit 1 million viewers and I'm just going to write, I told you so. You're going to see me, Shannon Pirie, I told you so, you know? So I think that's the part that makes me really proud to work for a brand that's not just trying to sell you makeup, that we really are passionate about seeing women become more confident.
Oh man.
And I have the platform to do that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of brands can say it, but do they allow me at the end of a, 45-minute spiel with a bunch of KOLs to go in on that? Because I do. Yeah. I go in and I have these incredible conversations afterwards because I know what it's like to have to create content all the time. It's exhausting. And how am I inspiring them and how am I challenging them to join me in changing the conversation in beauty? Because I can't do it by myself. I don't have that many followers, but I inspire, KOLs.
Like you say, you plant the seeds.
I'm planting seeds. I'm planting seeds. And I think that's the part, to do that. I think the other thing is don't get caught up in seeing to see the oak tree. Be really, really good with just throwing seeds. I had no idea why I was coming to Southeast. I mean, I knew, right? But like, what was in it for me? What was there to be it? Was it to bring some confidence to the stewardess on the plane? Was that the whole reason why I came here to do? Yes, I'm here to talk about Nude Glow. Yes, I'm here to get you guys excited. But for me, it was like this moment in with the KOLs in Malaysia where one came up to me and as she's telling me her story, I thought to myself, and this is why I came to Southeast Asia. I didn't, yes, please go buy all the product, make me look good for coming here. But my words of confidence to her and looking at her and saying to her, what made you confident? And her giving me the feedback and being able to look at her and go, I am so proud of you. And to see her cry. There was something for me that was like, oh, I came here for you. And that's where I think that inner confidence comes, that I don't need to hit certain goals or whatever needs to happen. I just need to make sure I'm my most authentic self so that I can inspire whoever that is in there. And that doesn't happen when I'm fixated on what my hair looks like, if I look thin enough, if my makeup looks right. That doesn't happen because I do that a lot. I miss my moments. But when I'm not, when I'm having that core confidence and it's quiet, that's when I see magic.
Shannon, I just want to say thank you.
No, it's been an honor to be here.
For all that you are, all that you've shared. Your heart, your passion, your magic. I'm feeling it. I don't know about you guys listening, but I'm feeling it. Like everyone in this room felt it. And I always end the podcast. I wish I don't have to end, but she's got a flight to catch, you guys. I wish we don't have to end this, but we always end it with 3 questions.
Ooh,
and
I like it.
The first question is, what are you currently head over heels for?
Oh, that's such a good question. I'm head over heels. I want to give you a really authentic answer here.
Go for it.
I'm head over heels with air conditioning in Malaysia. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I would say I'm head over heels so excited to be back doing what I love to do.
Oh, man.
And I say that because this is my second trip of the year, but to be able to be out talking about IT Cosmetics and doing that I have to say, it's been interesting how many people are like, you look like you're loving life. And I'm like, I am. I really am. It's been healing. I would say that.
I'm just so glad to see you back on the road.
Me
doing what you
too.
do. Love
Me too. Yeah. So that's probably my most authentic.
Yes.
I know it has stuff to do with work, but that's truly, I'm head over heels on that.
Yeah. It fuels you. It makes you happy. That's all you need.
Absolutely.
Love it. Okay, cool. Next one. Best or worst advice you have ever received? You can choose either or both.
Best or worst advice? It's like so funny because I want to go worst, right? Best advice.
You can go both.
Yeah, I could go both, right? See, this is what's good. You didn't give me these questions before, so I'm actually having to think. So
She wanted me to throw it at her.
I wanted
so
her to throw them
didn't
at
give it.
me. My best advice, I would say, this would probably be the best. I heard this in college. It was the first time I was ever speaking in front of a group, and I was so terrified. And the person said, just speak from your heart, Shannon. And I think I've always held on to that. That whenever I'm doing it, I try to speak from my heart.
Yeah.
That would be my best advice. I know it's like kind of cheesy, but
the simplest ones are the best ones.
Yeah. My worst advice was maybe you shouldn't talk because you're the female in the room.
Oh my gosh, shut the hell up.
Yeah. That's when I was a social worker and I was sitting in front of a judge and they asked the male guy who had not worked on my case to speak because he was a male. And I was like, I can't say what I said, but you know.
Yeah. Actually, okay, never mind.
I think you could, but I mean,
we'll keep
I'll tell you later.
Okay, one final one, but I kind of know where you're going to go with this answer.
Okay.
I kind of know, but go for it. 3 words to describe your life right now.
The middle.
Yes.
Happy. I'm really happy right now. And I would say adventurous.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And before we really wrap up, I promise. By the way, you guys, IT Cosmetics CC Nude Glow is actually going to be launched today. Personally, if you follow me on Instagram, you know I've been talking about IT Cosmetics for a long, long time.
And we so appreciate that.
You're welcome. But I mean, I love it. Like the product speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Really, really. Every time I share about it, there will be like 10 other women who says, I love it too. So really the product speaks for itself.
True.
We're not saying this because we have to, but it really is something you should totally try. And I love that it's very lightweit that you mentioned.
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit more.
Okay, so CC Nude Glow. So if you're used to using CC cream, which is our full coverage, you know, it's the holy grail for me. I will take it to my grave. I love it so much. You know, and it replaces up to 7 products in one. That's your original CC cream, SPF 50. You know, what we heard is that not everyone wanted the full coverage.
Yes.
Okay,
that's me.
So that's you. So I don't understand that because, you know, I like full coverage, right? But I was pleasantly surprised with this. It's a skin tint. So yeah, I know. It's a skin tint.
Okay.
And it has a clear SPF in it, SPF 40, which is great. Anything over 30 is great, guys. Everyone panics about that, anything over 30. But it's a skin tint. Here's the other thing. It's 90% skincare. 2% niacinamide.
How is that possible?
Trust me, I went to the labs. They had to show me because I was like, what does this mean? And I got to feel the texture and all that. And then they throw in the pigments. So one of the things that's great is niacinamide's in there. And if you don't know what niacinamide is, and don't worry, I had to Google it back in the day as well, is that niacinamide, I don't know if you know this, is the most efficacious ingredient that doesn't cause harm. So a lot of ingredients that are really good for your skin can cause a little bit of irritation because, you know, we work with plastic surgeons and dermatologists and we want to do everything for sensitive skin. But niacinamide helps with literally like texture on the skin, blending everything out, and that's where you're going to get your glow. So I love this. I just did some really cool content showing one side on one side original, one side Nude Glow. But here's the other thing, since these are your, you know, these people are listening to you.
Yes.
This sold out in the United States in about 3 weeks.
No way.
It sold out in Canada in 2 weeks, and I sold it out in Singapore last week.
No way.
So today's the day. If you're listening to this, stop listening to us right now, or turn your car around and get to a Sephora, or order online. Please pull over if you're driving because that's inappropriate. But I tell you this because it has literally exploded. And I think the reason is, even if you're a CC Original user, you can totally use both. Yes. But if you are the person that's like, CC cream has just always been a little much for me, this is the product you've been dreaming about. You've been truly dreaming about. I will say this though, you have to set it with Bye Bye Pores in Malaysia.
Okay.
It's a non-negotiable. If you don't know what that product is, follow me on Instagram. I talk about it all the time. So, but that's what I would say on the products. And you know what it is that I love that it gives you the confidence to know your skin looks perfect.
Yes.
I do this demo, you know, I know we're not doing it because you're listening to a podcast. You can't see me really, but I take my makeup off and I can live demo this product without a mirror. Talk about confidence, because you're like, does this look all right? I do it all the time. I've done it in huge groups on that. The product is so easy to use and the colors are so flexible. Again, Sephora today.
Love it. I mean, by the way,
insider info too, because nobody else is going to do that. But yeah.
Exactly. You guys not going to get that if you go online.
Nope.
So the fact that you're listening to this and you're getting this from the global brand ambassador of IT Cosmetics, who's usually not in Malaysia ever.
Yeah.
Hardly ever. A couple of years once maybe.
Yeah.
It's such an honor, really, Shannon. I think.
I can't wait to come back.
Oh man, thank you so much. It was such a wholesome, healing, and just wonderful conversation with you. And I wish we have more time. And I wish you don't have to fly tonight, but it's okay. I'll see you next time, or I'll come to New Jersey to find you.
Come to New Jersey.
Because I want to travel too.
Hey, maybe I start my podcast and you come to me.
Please do. Yes. We'll bring Head Over Heels over to New Jersey. How does it sound, Bella?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys. I think with that, we will officially wrap up this episode. I promise. This is it. Thank you so much, Shannon. And how can they find you on Instagram? I think
I'm Shan Pirie. So SHAN, P as in Paul, IRIE. You'll see me. I've got straight hair and stuff. You can find me on Instagram. I love DMs. I love to talk with them.
Please do.
Thank you for having me. I truly think what you're doing is really incredible. And I think having conversations that no one wants to talk about is truly how you build confidence in people. So my hope and prayer for you is that your listeners triple.
Oh, thank you.
And your voice and what you're doing goes further and further and further. And that the women of Malaysia are inspired and confidence. You be like a little confidence coach. So thank you for allowing me to be here.
You have inspired me so much. Like the fact that you said, my job is to plant seeds.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to continue to plant seeds for as long as I can.
Absolutely.
And to remind you to fall head over heels for yourself first and always. And with that, we will see you in the next episode. And don't forget to follow Shannon and IT Cosmetics. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.